What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back in the video. Week 1 starts tomorrow, so gotta go game by game, talk about all the players who will be starting and sitting this week. First up, Thursday night game, Cowboys at Eagles, 47.5 point total, pretty solid total. Eagles, 8-point home favorites, meaning Dallas projected to score less than 20 points in this one, so even though we have a big total, not all coming on the Dallas side. Brutal matchup for Dallas. I'm projecting under 2 total touchdowns for the team. Obviously, that's not good. Wouldn't really want to play into the running backs in week 1. If you drafted 2 quarterbacks and Dak was one of them, I'd probably roll with the other option. He's not really going to use his legs at all, right? Like, Dak's not a mobile quarterback. So when he gets into these spots where, yes, they could fall behind, right? We could see the Eagles pull out to like a 2-score lead early on. The entire second half, Dallas is throwing the ball and he catches up in garbage time. That can happen. But when we don't have these mobile quarterbacks and we have really tough passing environments against teams that, let's be honest, Eagles could run like a 10-play drive or 10-minute drive, 20-play drive in the fourth quarter, and really make it so that Dallas just doesn't get the ball back, doesn't have any plays. So their floors are lower when they're non-mobile in these spots, and so we definitely do not like that. He does not project well in week 1. Doesn't mean he can't get there, but doesn't project well. So probably a no on Dak, a no on the running backs. We just want to see that play out for a week, see what the split is. As for the pass catchers, you have to play CeeDee Lamb in every matchup, so you're obviously starting him. I would say Pickens is flex viable. Ferguson projects pretty poorly, but let's say you drafted Ferguson, you didn't draft another tight end, you look on free agency and it's all pretty mediocre, just play Ferguson. It really comes down to touchdowns with a lot of tight ends, and there's no reason that Ferguson can't score a touchdown this week. Again, I don't think he's going to be that great of a play, but if you have to, it's fine. I would really say the big one is Pickens. He's going to be a player that, is going to have a really high weekly ceiling, sometimes a lower floor. In this matchup, I don't love it. If you drafted George Pickens as like your 4th wide receiver, great. You can easily bench him and play him in the future. But if you drafted Pickens to be a clear flex player, you don't have another great option, he still is just kind of a big play threat. So I would be fine playing if you have to. But if it's a tie and you have a Dallas player and someone else, I'd probably go with the other player. The Eagles, it's the exact opposite. Just play everyone. Like, the Dallas defense is really, really bad. We're going to be attacking them all season. Hurts, Saquon, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert. Not all of them are going off, but all are very strong plays. You should have all of them in your starting lineup. Friday night game this week, and we played in Sao Paulo, Brazil. So not normally going to have a Friday night game, but a little bit of fun. We get one in week 1. It says Chiefs at Chargers, but again, it's in Brazil. No one is the home team. Should be a really good game, honestly. 2 very strong teams, good defenses. We have a couple spots like that this week where it's, teams that are going to have maybe like 26, 27 points in their projection to score in a lot of weeks this season. But when they go up against another really good team, they do have a strong defense. So it could be a spot where we see the aerial attacks take off. We see a back and forth affair. Everyone really hits their projection. Everyone's a great play. But because the defenses are so good and the coaching staffs are so good, and they know the offense on the other side is really good, we could also see a little bit of a slower pace game than we think, a little bit more field position. So there's a lot of variance to this spot, and the 45.5 point total kind of indicates that, right? We're not seeing a 51, 52 point total against really good teams. It's 45.5. There's a lot of games here where it turns out to be like a 21, 24 type game. So just know that it's not a guarantee we're going to see a nuke on both sides. For the Chiefs, Rashee Rice obviously suspended. I'll be honest, I don't really know what to expect exactly from the wide receiver rotation behind Worthy. We know Worthy's the guy, but my gut says that Thornton is going to play a lot more than people are expecting. But really, a ton of guys going to mix into that like kind of wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 spot this week. And so I don't really trust any Chiefs wide receiver other than Xavier Worthy. I'd start him. I'd bench everyone else. He's currently my wide receiver 12 on the week too, so definitely a must start. Kelsey projecting right now as a top 10 tight end, since of course his role is going to be increased when they don't have Rashee Rice on the field. I am a little concerned about his role, about his efficiency and everything because of his age, but like if you drafted Travis Kelsey and you're not playing him this week, why'd you draft him, right? Like the weeks that Rashee Rice is not out there, that's when we're playing Travis Kelsey. If you're going to bench him, you might as well trade him because this is the week you would play him. So start Worthy, start Kelsey if you have him. Mahomes is a fringe option right now. He projects in that general like quarterback, like 12 to 14 range, like kind of like a high-end quarterback too. Similar take as Kelsey, right? If you took Mahomes in like a late round quarterback, I don't know. I feel like you kind of just got to play Patrick Mahomes. If you drafted him and like another elite quarterback for some reason, sure, go with the elite option. But for most of you, Mahomes is your top guy. Just play him. Toughest call is probably with Isaiah Pacheco. My gut says play him, but I do have him only projected as more of like a flex play. There are still a lot of unknowns in this running back room. Are they going to go with a huge committee where there's a bunch of different roles and Pacheco really needs a touchdown to be viable? It's not a spot where we're expecting Kansas City to post 30 points this week. It's not a spot where we expect them to get up by multiple scores and sit on a lead. So I don't love it. It's possible also you drafted Pacheco as like maybe your third running back and maybe you have good wide receivers to where you can bench him for a week and just kind of see how things play out. That's my preference. But if you had to play him as a low end 2, you had to play him in the flex spot, there's worse plays than Pacheco this week. Chargers. Ladd and Hampton, I would say are must starts given where you drafted them, right? Like you probably drafted Hampton in round 3. You're not benching really any player you draft in the first 4 rounds. I don't see a world where you can really bench them unless like you drafted Rice early in the offseason. He's suspended, have to bench him. But anyone who's playing and not hurt in the first 4 picks of your draft, you kind of have to just play every week. So Ladd, Hampton, think you got to play them. I think Najee has a shot to play. Honestly, if you have Hampton, you probably, I don't want to say you hope he plays, but you're totally fine if he does because like he just started getting ramped up. So there's just no world where he goes out there and has a huge role. Whereas maybe, I guess, one of the backups has been with the team more. They're more live to have like 30% of the touches. But regardless, like I just think Hampton's going to have most of the touches this week. Not going to be featured, but featured enough to where you're playing him. It's not a good spot because again, like I said, to kind of open, the Chargers are a great team, right? They're going to be winning a lot of games this season, playing with the lead, scoring a lot more points. There's a chance that they lose this game, play from behind in this game. There's a chance that they only score maybe 2 touchdowns. So this is one of the worst spots they're going to be in all season. But because of the touches, again, you have to play Amar Hampton. No other really close calls, though. Like you're fading the tight end room. I don't think you're playing Keenan Allen. I don't think you're playing any wide receiver that's not named Ladd. If you're in a super deep format, if you went like robust RB along with elite tight end and quarterback for some reason, and Keenan is like your wide receiver 2, I don't think any of you are in that scenario. But if that occurred, sure. I want to see how they split the snaps at wide receiver behind Ladd. So only play him. Herbert's projecting well as a tight end 7. I do think he's going to run the ball more than he did last season. That helps out his projection. It's also a potential trailing script. So even though I don't know which wide receiver is going to hit behind Ladd can have a good game. The tight ends can mix in for a little bit. And then you can get, just a sprinkling of a lot of different wide receivers having production to where Herbert could pretty easily have 30 rushing yards. Maybe he rushes in a touchdown, but even if not, 30 rushing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 250 passing yards, and he starts to snowball into a really good game. So I think if you drafted Herbert and there's not a clear starter ahead of him, even if it's a strong Chiefs defense, I'd probably play him this week. On to the Sunday games. Kick things off. Dolphins at Colts. 47-point total, a pretty good total for these two teams. Colts are actually 1.5-point home favorites. I was a little bit surprised. I can see why, but I was surprised to see them be favorites. On the Dolphins side, start your studs. That is good advice for the early part of the season. We don't know what's going to happen. And a lot of times, we have takes on players, but there's so many unknowns in week 1 to where like we learned the most of any week in week 1 that I wouldn't play things like too cute. We might think someone's going to have a good role and they go out there and get 1 target, and you don't want that to happen to you in week 1, right? So the guys that we do know if H.N. plays, is going to have a great role. We do know Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle will be the focal point of this passing attack. So when we know those sorts of things, just get them into your starting lineup. Don't be too cute with kind of fringe players in week 1. So assuming H.N. plays, play him. They wouldn't put him out there in week 1 if he wasn't good to go. That doesn't mean he couldn't have a snap count, a touch count, something like that, and I'll adjust the projections if we see that. But for the most part, they play him. He's healthy enough to play, so you should play him as well. Same thing with Tyreek Hill. They won't put him out there if he's not good to go, so play him. No one else really. I would find a way to get Waddle in the starting lineup. Like, I think that especially early in the season, Tyreek Hill's missed 3 consecutive weeks of camp. He's ramping up right now, but like Waddle's been the guy that's been out there, and they don't have a third wide receiver. Malik Washington's fine, but they don't have a third wide receiver they're featuring in this offense. So Waddle's been the guy all camp. That's going to translate into the season. So I really would find a way to get Waddle into your starting lineup. Start all of those three. I don't think anyone else, like Ollie Gordon, definitely start him if HN is out. So if you see HN out, Ollie Gordon will project as running back 2. I would get him into your starting lineup. But there's no way I really want to start Malik Washington, Darren Waller. Like, we got to see this offense operate before I'm willing to go to them, even in deeper formats. And then Tua, he's just not going to project well in like a redraft format, right? He's someone you could go to an underdog, but we've talked a lot in the season how like in a redraft league, he just needs to do so much because he's going to have literally 0 rushing yards. He's got to do so much where it's like, there's no viability in playing him. For the Colts, decent spot, right? Daniel Jones can be starting. Hopefully that's a positive over AR, but we kind of still don't know. That'll be week to week. It's also somewhat of a risk with these Colts quarterbacks being like, if you want to stream them, like I'm never going to project either one of them for a full snap share. Like I'm just always going to give the other one a little bit of work because there's always a risk that a couple terrible drives happen in a row and AR comes out there in week 1. Like, do I think that's going to happen? No, but it's a possibility. And so you have to project that kind of in. You have to know that when you're starting them. But the same thing with AR. Like, I'm never going to project AR for a full snap share because he could easily get hurt. He could easily fall apart, and they bring in Daniel Jones. So there's always a risk with those guys. I would say if you look at projections, Daniel Jones is going to project as a pretty decent play, but know that in the back of your mind that like there's always that risk. And week 1 isn't the week I really want to stream. Like for the most part, I don't love, especially like picking up. Like if you drafted a great team you like, to go out there and be like, oh, Daniel Jones on free agency, he projects well, I'm going to play him for like a half a point better than my quarterback right now. I would honestly rather just take the half point hit in the projection, start whoever your quarterback is, and keep those like bench upside players because I don't want to be like wasting bench spots on 2 quarterbacks if I don't have to this week. And who knows? Like there's so many unknowns about Daniel Jones that he might project well, but I don't know that I would start him this week. Other than that, obviously, again, play Jonathan Taylor. I think Warren is a great play. Again, there's unknowns with rookies in week 1, but we're pretty confident he's going to have like a 90+% snap share. We're very confident he's a good player. We're very confident he's going to have a good target share. So even though we're not 100% certain yet, like if I had Tyler Warren, I'd probably be playing him unless I did like Mark Andrews. I would play over him. I would probably play Travis Kelce over him. So if you went with like one of those 2 plus Warren, maybe lean towards those studs and give Warren a week. But for the most part, I think most of you drafted Warren as your top tight end, so I would just play him. Behind that, again, it's Daniel Jones as maybe a streaming option, but the wide receivers, it's just like, I don't want to trust it. Like Downs is coming back from injury. If he's out there, it means he's good enough to go, but not good enough for me to trust in week 1. If he does play, it takes away from the appeal of Pittman. There's also just the unknowns of how does Daniel Jones like this wide receiver room? Like what's his target share is going to be? So I would just avoid it. I really just would not play any of the Colts wide receivers unless you really have to this week. I'm not expecting a big game for any of them. I think the game could pop off. Like if Tyreek Waddle kind of get going, Achane hits for a big play. Like I can see this game, get going, but I just don't think I trust it enough to start them in redraft. Next up, Panthers at Jaguars, 46.5 point total. Jaguars 3.5 point home favorites. For the Panthers side, Thielen was traded away. We've got Coker on IR now. So my guess is that Hunter Renfrow, who they brought back, he's going to be their slot wide receiver with Tet and Leggett on the outside. This game does have some sneaky shootout potential. Both defenses are pretty mediocre. Both offenses are good enough and have good enough playmakers to where if we see some big plays on one side, it would probably come from the Jaguars side. But if the Jaguars side starts to get going early, right, they really are clicking. They score, 17 points in the first 4 or 5 drives of the game. It forces Carolina to be more aggressive, to keep pace. I could see both of these teams having a lot of really good plays. I would say Tez a must start. Behind him, Leggett right now is my wide receiver 42. Javion Sanders, tight end 18. Both are theoretically fine, and if this game pops off, they're probably both going to be pretty decent plays in a traditional 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format, no tight end premium. It's unlikely you'll really need to use either one of them. I also don't know that a ton of you have to start Bryce Young, but in my Dynasty League, I have Bryce Young, I have JJ McCarthy at the Bears, I have Dak at the Eagles, and then Anthony Richardson on my bench. So as things stand right now, among those 4, Bryce Young is my top projected quarterback. I think he's my quarterback 12 right now. So on the fringes, if you were streaming, if you drafted him plus another one, like him plus McCarthy, him plus Dak, right now I'm starting Bryce Young. I don't love that Coker's out. Like I would have preferred Coker play, but the drop off between Coker and Hunter Renfrow, again, especially because Renfro's been with the team. It wasn't just a random free agent they signed and got going. I don't think is large enough for me to be that concerned. So I don't know. I think I'm probably going to trust them this week, but we will see. I reserve the right to kind of change around their projections, but I trust them enough. Only other play is really Chuba. I think you're playing him at running back 2. Again, good enough spot, good enough volume expectation week 1. I have my concerns about Rico Dowdle, about Etienne, but it's Trevor Etienne, not Travis. At the end of the day, I think you just play Chuba. I think those concerns are more long-term. I think if they kind of want Etienne to mix in more in the passing as the season goes along, if they think Rico Dowdle can take over at some point, or like take over more of a workload, I think early on Chuba's probably going to be the guy. It's a decent matchup. Again, this game could be really good. For the Jaguars side, Brian Thomas Jr. must start. Trevor Lawrence is projecting as a very, very strong start. I'd probably play him if I had him. Travis Hunter projects as a flex play. Another one where like I'd probably just play him. I think Travis Hunter, if you're concerned about like early versus late season where the snaps are coming, they are going to play him as close to a full-time wide receiver to start and then mix him in on defense, and the defense part will grow. It's not going to be like he's a full-time cornerback that mixes in on offense. He's going to play enough on offense where I would play him if I had him. And then Brenton Strange, viable. I don't know that anyone has to play Brenton Strange, but again, good game environment. I think he's viable as a low-end option, but like he's obviously not, a top 10 tight end. Again, Travis Hunter is probably the toughest call, especially if you didn't draft him to be a starter, but you probably drafted him on the fringes. He's my wide receiver 36 right now. I think if I did anything to the projections, he'd move closer to the wide receiver 30. My gut says that this season, like, is he going to be a must start every week or a fringe option every week? My gut says he's going to be a must start every week. And when it's like that between players, I would rather just start playing him because I think he's just an exceptional talent, someone that, is really going to be a difference maker for this team. And I think they can just throw him out there in week 1 and he can be great. So I'd probably just play him. Toughest call is probably with the running backs, beyond those guys. Etienne right now, running back 29, Tank Bigsby 35, rookies unplayable, but keep a close eye on Sunday morning. Is Tootin inactive? Is Allen inactive? Quentin Allen Jr.? Is there some sort of report where Tootin's going to get more workload, or some sort of report where Tootin's not really going to get any workload? Like, I do think the Jaguars is going to be one where Sunday morning a report comes out that helps us a lot in these projections. Right now, this is what I think. I think Etienne and Tank are like fringe starters, not running back 2s, guys you could put in the flex spot that I wouldn't love playing, but watch the reports. I think something's going to come out Saturday night or Sunday morning in that regards. Next up, Giants at Commanders, 45.5 point total. Commanders 6-point home favorites. For the Giants, Neighbors must start. Tyron Tracy Jr., low-end running back 2. I'd probably bench everyone else. I'm excited to see the wide receiver rotation, excited to see Theo Johnson's role, how does Scadaboo mix in. End of the day, I can't justify any of those guys as starters in week 1 unless you're in a very deep format. Even Tracy Jr., a fairly risky start just given the unknowns around the running back usage on this team. So if you do have better options, I'm definitely good benching Tracy Jr., but Neighbors obviously play him every week. For the Commanders, Jane Daniels, Terry McLaurin, their must starts in my eyes. Ertz, viable as a streaming option. Honestly, he projects fairly well. Debo, flex viable. Debo's a tough one because it's another one where it's like, new team, new system. Like, I would like to see a week of Debo having 6 or 7 targets, having multiple screen passes, being used in the red zone, used as a running back. Like, I would like to see the usage like reminiscent of the days when he was going off for the 49ers. Won't love it if he goes out there and commands like 4 targets, no carries, no screens. And I'm like, ooh, he has to do it all on his own because that outcome exists. Like if you were choosing between Debo and Travis Hunter, you're putting Travis Hunter into the flex spot every time. I know some of you are excited about JCM, Jacory Krosky Bill, but none of their running backs project even inside the top 38 running backs. I definitely would want to see how do they look? What is the rotation? I would want to see all that. The Giants also have an unreal defensive line, so I truly would not play any Commanders running back on Sunday. Next up, we've got the Cardinals at the Saints, 43-point total, fairly low for a dome game especially, and the Cardinals are 6.5-point road favorites. For the Cardinals, I think you're just starting the studs. Again, Kyler Murray, James Conner, Marv, Trey McBride, get them all in your starting lineup. They all project very well. There is a chance that, there's honestly multiple outcomes here. One chance that the Saints are just truly terrible. They are going to get the number one pick in the upcoming NFL draft. They can't push any team, and so the Cardinals can get up. They don't have to play aggressive. They run the ball in the whole second half, and this is a super boring, super slow-paced game where one side is terrible, one side's just running the clock out. That could happen, and that would be really unfortunate for our pass catchers on Arizona, but great for James Conner. There's also a chance here, though, that the Saints want to play fast. They want to get a ton of plays off. What if they're still bad, but they get so many plays off and they play so fast that even on some of their 3, 4, 5 and outs, they get the ball back so quickly to Arizona that even if Arizona pulls ahead, scores some touchdowns here, that, hey, you have so many offensive plays that you still hit. There's also an outcome here where honestly the Saints do well. I don't think that their coaching staff is bad. And so they have enough playmakers, no injuries yet, to where maybe they can keep pace. So again, I think just start the studs in Arizona. We'll kind of reassess what the Saints offense is next week and kind of see how does that impact other teams. But I wouldn't be scared off of Kyler because you think the Saints are terrible. If they're really as bad as we think, there's still outcomes here where they play fast. There's a ton of plays on Arizona's side. Arizona always has the ball in scoring position. There's plenty of touchdowns to go around. But again, 43-point total. So we're not expecting a crazy shootout here. But the points are on the Arizona side. For the Saints, again, there's a chance they play fast, but we don't know. If you are playing super fast but keep doing 3 and outs, you're not going to play fast for very long because the other team's going to, keep the ball the entire game. You're not doing anything. Kamara's must start. Olave is flex viable. Other than that, again, I'd really like to see this offense play for a week. I don't think I trust Shaheed. He doesn't in the betting markets. He's projecting for I think 31.5 receiving yards, 3 receptions. I think we like higher on that. We'll talk about that in the Friday or Saturday video. But the expectation is not great for the Saints offense. And so play Kamara, put Olave in the flex spot if you have to. But even Olave, only right now, wide receiver 34. Next up, we have Bengals at Browns, 47.5-point total. Pretty high total. And the Bengals, 5.5-point road favorites. I don't know. For as much as we think the Browns are terrible, that's a decent total, and it's only 5.5. It really goes to show you how bad people think the Bengals defense is going to be. But yeah, Bengals is easy. Start Burrow, Chase Brown, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, bench everyone else. That's just the easiest thing in the world. For the Browns, there's rumblings that Judkins could play in week 1. I doubt that happens. There's no need to do that, right? You're not making playoffs. You're in contention for the number 1 pick. He's a running back that they don't even make that much of a difference. And he hasn't practiced. I'm recording this, afternoon on Tuesday, day before it goes up. If you haven't practiced at this point, you're not in the game plan for week 1. So he's not going to play in week 1, but he should play early in the season. Regardless, though, if he's out, Jerome Ford is flex viable. Again, this game projects to be closer than I think a lot of people think. I think everyone thinks the Bengals can go out there and win by 20 points, and that could still happen. But if Jerome Ford is the lead running back on a team going against the Bengals and there's a theoretical chance it's a 1-score game because that's what Vegas is projecting to happen, then Jerome Ford is not a bad play. So you can play him as a running back too. I don't know the split between him and Sampson, but I'm not really a Sampson truther. So I think that Jerome Ford is probably going to be the lead running back. And again, Bengals really bad defense. But as things stand right now, you got Ford as a low-end running back too. You got Judy as flex viable, not an amazing play, but not a bad one either. Njoku is projecting really well. You can be scared of Harold Fannin Jr., but I think that's more of a thing of as the season goes on. I think to start week 1, if you have Njoku, you're probably playing him. Beyond that, I'm not playing Tillman. We're not playing Isaiah Bond, even if he's active, which I don't even know if that's going to happen. It is mostly Judy, Njoku, and Ford. I don't know that I would play anyone else, and I wouldn't stream Joe Flacco. Next up, Raiders at Patriots. A lower 43.5-point total. Patriots 2.5-point home favorites. For the Raiders, this is the first time we see this new offensive scheme. It is Geno's first start with the team. I would play it safe. I would only play Genty and Bowers. Myers does project as flex viable, so he's fine. Ideally, I'd like to see the offense first. How run heavy are they? Who does Geno favor? Is this a big rotation with the wide receivers, or is it clearly Myers? Like, I don't think you draft him to play him in the first week, so I wouldn't. For the Patriots, this is also the first game under new offensive system, so I would again proceed with some level of caution. May is my quarterback 11. Henderson right now projects as a low-end running back 2. I think you're playing both of them and just kind of hoping for the best. We're pretty sure the roles are going to be there for both those players. Stevenson is probably going to mix in more than we'd like early in the season, but Henderson's very explosive, great role in the receiving game, so I feel like you probably drafted Henderson thinking you got to play him running back 2, so I would. I think Diggs is a tough call. My gut says bench him until we see like a full snap share, right? I do think he can go out there, play 85% of the snaps in week 1, look good, command like 7 or 8 targets, and we're definitely playing him moving forward. I'm just somewhat concerned that we don't 100% know how good he's going to look, how many targets he's going to command. You didn't draft him as a top 2 wide receiver, so my preference would be to bench Stephon Diggs this week. Only other option is really Hunter Henry. You didn't draft him to be a starter either, so again, I would play May, I'd play Henderson. I really would just not play other Patriots players until we see this offense work out. Next up, another potential shootout. Bucs at Falcons, 47.5 point total. Bucs 2.5 point road favorites. For the Bucs, Bucky Irving, Mike Evans, their must starts. I think Egbuka grades out as a strong start. I don't want to call him a must start just yet, but given all the injuries they have, given his upside as a player, given the way I think this game can go, I'd be pretty surprised. Like, I know some of you drafted a little bit earlier and you got Egbuka as like your 4th, 5th, my goodness, wide receiver. There becomes a world where you have so many good options, you kind of can't fit him in. If you can, I would play Egbuka this week. Baker is a tough call, but again, kind of goes with the philosophy this week of if you drafted Baker and no one else, play him. If you drafted Baker and someone else who projects similarly, you took Baker early, had a great year last year, still a game that can go off. I just rolled Baker. Falcon side. Similar story, and then just start the studs. Bijan, London. Pitts is only my tight end 17 right now. I probably wouldn't play him until we see him have a good role and look good. Mooney, he's working back from injury. Even if he plays in week 1, I'd like to see him play a full snap share, not get re-injured, so I wouldn't play him. I think this game can go off, but I think we know who would do well if it did go off, so Bijan, London, only 2 I trust in Atlanta this week. Final 1 o'clock game. Worst game of the week. Steelers at Jets, pathetically low, 38.5 point total. Come on, it's September. Like, everyone's healthy. 38.5 point total, guys. Like, that's embarrassing. Steelers 3-point road favorites. For the Steelers, only 2 I could stomach starting is Jaylen Warren and DK Metcalf, but given the game environment, neither one of them projects super well. This is going to be a slow-paced game, a run-heavy game, a field position game where we see a bunch of punts and field goals. Very few touchdowns will be scored from either team. It is likely we see 0 big scores from this game on either side. And so as a tiebreaker, if someone is in this game, do not play them. Again, Warren, running back 22, Metcalf, wide receiver 24, both fine to start. I just won't be happy about it. Then for the Jets side, similar story, only worse. I could only see starting Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. Breece currently running back 28. Wilson currently wide receiver 32. I don't have a lot of faith in the Jets offense this season, and I definitely don't have a lot of faith against the Steelers defense this week. I want to see them play well for a week before trusting them, and realistically, they're probably not going to play well this week. I just sort of doubt you can bench these 2. Like, if you have Breece Hall and you have Garrett Wilson, you probably have to play them. Just, understand that the Jets are projected to score less than 18 points. They're going to run the ball a ton, and their offense looked terrible in camp. So you probably have to play them, but know that. You might have to play Fields if he's the only quarterback you drafted. He's hypermobile, so it only takes 1 long touchdown run for him to hit. But my preference would be another quarterback if you drafted him and someone else. I really wanted the Jets to show some signs of life before starting their players. 4 o'clock games kick off. 49ers at Seahawks, 43.5 point total. 49ers, 2.5 point road favorites. For the 49ers, simple. McCaffrey, Kittle, Pearsall, must starts. Juwan, question mark as of writing this. My guess is that even if he plays, he's limited. He's missed so much time, theoretically coming off injury, to where I wouldn't imagine he'd get a lot of snaps, and then I wouldn't imagine he's part of the game plan a lot, right? Like, Pierce has been tearing up camp. You haven't seen Juwan out there, so there's no way Juwan is in the game plan heavily for week 1. So start those guys for sure. Maybe Purdy, he doesn't project amazingly, but with the 49ers, it always just comes down to like, where do the touchdowns come from? Like, does McCaffrey run 3 in? Do they split touchdowns evenly where it's like, they score 3 touchdowns, but only 2 are passing and Purdy doesn't have the rushing yards? Like, it's just tough to know with him sometimes. It's a very touchdown dependent team because the volume is not there. I would say if Purdy's your only quarterback, definitely play him. If it's him and someone else, you can think about it, because Seattle projects still as a pretty solid defense. So I'm not pumped to stream against them, but you're probably just rolling with Purdy if he's your first quarterback. For the Seahawks side, Ken Walker must start. JSN probably also a must start. I would bench everyone else, though. I don't trust Cooper Kupp yet. I don't trust Horton, definitely. I think maybe as the season goes on, maybe one of those two we can trust, but not yet. If Ken Walker starts, I don't think we can trust Charbonnet. At least that's the expectation. So just Ken, JSN, bench everyone else. Next up, Titans at Broncos, 42.5 point total. Broncos, 7.5 point home favorites. For the Titans, brutal matchup. You never want to play at Denver early in the season, especially with a rookie quarterback in their first start. Pollard is going to be featured, though. And so I think volume-wise, he's just going to get enough usage where you kind of have to play him. Ridley, you could argue it's the same, where the usage should be strong enough to trust him. Right now, Ridley, wide receiver 26, which is actually pretty decent given all the inputs I have for how good Denver is going to be. I think he's viable in the flex, but don't be shocked if you look and he has like 7 targets, 3 receptions for 40 yards and no touchdown. And you're like, how'd that happen? It's at Denver in rookie quarterback's first start. Aside from that, no. I mean, I just don't think you're playing anything from that side. Again, Denver is a great defense. For Denver, they're tied for the 5th highest team total of the week, so we can trust them a little bit more. Bo Nix, Cortland Sutton, must starts. And while both Dobbins and Harvey, they project decently, I think there's a possibility one of them disappoints, but they're both low-end running back 2s. It's pretty likely one of them scores a touchdown. It's possible both of them score a touchdown this week. I think if you have them and you drafted them as starters, you can definitely play them. Like if you took Harvey as your starting running back and you're like, wait a minute, what do you mean I might not be playing him? Just play him. Like, don't put some scrub in there behind him, especially at running back 2. I think it's totally fine. Just know that like Dobbins is probably going to start this game. He's probably going to have passing down work, and he's probably going to be the one that should project, and I have him higher in the projections, should project better in the short term. We love Harvey long term. But this is also a great spot. You are like touchdown home favorites. You should be winning. You should be scoring a decent amount of points. You should be up in the second half. Like, it's a good spot for the running back. So I don't feel bad, starting either one of them at running back 2. I would say Engram, low end tight end 1, another player where it's like, if you draft him as your top tight end, you're not playing him this week. Why'd you draft him at all? But again, the biggest call is probably with Harvey, 7.5 point home favorites. Usually you're starting running backs. In that scenario, he's a good enough player where even though he might not project for a ton of touches, he can hit. So I'm good playing. Next up, have what should be a really good game between the Lions and the Packers. 47.5 point total. Packers 2.5 point home favorites. I don't know, somewhat surprising when I saw that one as well. For the Lions, fairly simple. Start Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, and Jameson Williams. Goff is fine, but he's very touchdown dependent. And there will be other games where we expect more touchdowns from Detroit, so I wouldn't play Jared Goff this week. And then Monty is fine, but he definitely has to score a touchdown. Running back 33 right now, if you have a better option, but it's fine. But if you had to play running back 2, I'm also good with that. He's going to have a decent amount of touches. If they get inside the 5-yard line, he'll probably get an opportunity to score. But again, touchdown dependent, so lower floor. Then on the Packers side, start Jacobs, start Tucker Kraft, bench everyone else. I think at points we'll start Golden. I think it's possible other wide receivers mix in to where maybe we trust them at some point in week 1, even in what could be a shootout. I know this game has a lot of upside. I just don't trust their wide receiver room until I see it. In a redraft league especially, like maybe if this were week 7, week 8, there's no teams on bye. There's very few injuries right now. So you have your whole team at your disposal. I don't think you need to start any Packers wide receivers, even though the game looks great. Final 4 o'clock game is going to be Texans at Rams, 44 point total. Rams 3 point home favorites. For the Texans side, I think this is a pretty easy one. Start Nico Collins, bench everyone else. I know some of you are excited to start Chubb or Pierce or Marks, but that's the point. We don't really know who it's going to be. It's a bad offensive line. They're probably all going to mix in unless we get a report Sunday morning that it's like Chubb is going to be the featured back or Woody Marks is going to get way more touches than expected. Like, unless something like that comes out, I don't see how you rank any of these 3 running backs as top 30 backs. And that's kind of what you need to be starting a running back. We need to see this rotation play out before we're actually going to trust them. I also don't trust the rookie wide receivers. I don't think they're going to have a large enough role. Christian Kirk, fine in deeper leagues. Only my wide receiver 49 right now. I think if you had to play him, that would be fine because I do think he opens the season as that clear number 2 wide receiver. But this whole game, I feel like it's going to be slow pace. I think it's going to be pretty run heavy. I could see touchdowns being scored at a high rate, but I could also see this being a field position battle, just a very like play it safe. Don't make huge mistakes because like both defenses are totally fine. Both play callers are great, but both play callers know that the other side is also smart. Both play callers know that like this game is probably going to be, it's probably going to be both sides trying to really, really improve field position and flip it to where they can finally get a short field and score. That's kind of how I see this game playing out. I don't think either side's going to go out there and be like, gotta strike first, gotta be super aggressive. I think everything's going to be really conservative on both sides, and that doesn't lead to super high ceiling outcomes. On the Rams side, that doesn't matter because you're starting Kyron, you're starting Puka, you're starting Adams. I think so much of the volume is going to flow through those 3 that even if no one has more than a 20-yard play, Kyron's going to get enough touches. Puka's going to get probably double-digit targets. Adams will be using the red zone and still have a decent amount of targets to where, like, I don't care if the ball's not pushed downfield. You're starting those 3. You're not starting anyone else. Sunday night game, one of the best of the week, probably the best of the week, and that's Ravens at Bills. 50.5 point total, only 50 point total. I think only one that I said that was more than like 48, if I'm not mistaken. And then Bills are only 1.5 point home favorites. That seems correct. Very close game, very evenly matched, potential for a shootout. For the Ravens, Lamar, Henry, Mark Andrews, clear must starts. I'm also assuming Likely's going to be out. If Likely played, it would shock me. But if he played, Mark Andrews would move to like a strong start, like a decent one, but not one that's a must start. But if Likely's out, you have to play Mark Andrews. And it also helps Zay Flowers. So if you have Likely out, I think, Flowers is a good play. We like these spots for the Ravens where there's a chance they're playing from behind, or there's a chance they have to push it, right? In some of these spots with the pass catchers, if they get up, they're just going to lean on Derrick Henry in the ground game. And that doesn't lead to enough targets for these pass catchers to be worth it. But in games that are close, potentially high scoring on the other side, especially on the road in Buffalo, there's a chance they have to throw the ball more than expected. And if that occurs, you want Zay, you want Bateman. I think Bateman's more of a fringe play. I don't know that you really have to go to him, but it's one of the better spots of the passing attack. If you had to, it wouldn't be terrible, but he's only my wide receiver 41 right now. You probably don't have to, but I'd probably play Zay if you had him. Then on the Bills side, they are home favorites, so that's nice, but they'll be better home favorites in a lot of other games where they're like, touchdown, 9, 10-point home favorites, projected to score a lot more points. You're playing Josh Allen. I think you're playing James Cook if you have him. Other than that, though, I don't know. I mean, Kincaid's a fringe option. All the wide receivers are going to mix in to where I don't really know that I trust any of them. We're hoping Keon breaks out. We're hoping Shakir's consistent. But in week 1, let's kind of see how that plays out. So it really is pretty easy. Start Josh Allen, start James Cook, but probably don't play any of their other players. Final game of the week, Monday Night Football, Vikings at Bears, 44-point total. Vikings, 1.5-point road favorites. For the Vikings, Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, clear must starts. McCarthy, quarterback 13. Aaron Jones, running back 21. Jordan Mason, running back 25. All those 3 last ones I mentioned, they're not must starts, but it comes down to what you have, and it's definitely fine playing them. Obviously, at Chicago is always a tough spot. We never want to play players at Chicago, but at least it's early September. The weather should be fine this week. My gut says with the running backs, if it's possible to maybe wait a week and just see what the split is it a true 50-50? Is one of them getting more touches? Like we don't know the 100% certainty yet. So my gut says if you can, bench them. But if you had to play one, it's Aaron Jones. I wouldn't love playing Jordan Mason this week, but either one are fine as like a low-end running back too if you have to. As I've said before, I am starting Bryce Young over McCarthy. Right now, the projections only have it as like a 0.1 difference, so it's close. And if you have McCarthy and you got to play him, I don't think you're dropping anyone on your bench to try and pick up someone that projects for like 0.1 points more. But yeah, no Addison at Chicago is part of the reason why you don't love it, and it is his first start. We still haven't seen it yet. Then for the Bears, tough spot also. I know they're at home, but they're home underdogs against one of the better defenses in the NFL. These are two really good offenses, and it's still 44 points as a total. Like, no one on the Bears side grays out as a must start. And I think I agree with those projections. There are a lot of, again, very good players on this team, but you've got Caleb Williams in a new offensive scheme playing the most confusing defense in the NFL. Like, there are not that many teams that the Bears could have played in week one where I wouldn't be saying start Swift, start DJ Moore, start Odunze, start Loveland. Like, there's going to be weeks where I say start every single one of them. I think that's the case. I think it's going to be awesome weeks for Chicago this season. This is not the week. I think that all these guys will probably be featured in the buy low video, to where like the roles are there. The team's going to be good, but it is the Vikings. They're one of the best, if not the best defense. I don't know. I think Denver's probably better. They're a top 3 defense, and they're really confusing for young quarterbacks. I really think Caleb's going to go out there and make one or two tough mistakes, and people are going to be like, oh, it's still Caleb. He's the problem. It's like, no, like that's just kind of what's going to happen against the Vikings a lot this season. Now, if Chicago goes out there and they look great this week, we're going to be like wheels up. Like, we're going to, if they actually go out there, score like 27 points, DJ Moore and Odunze go off, I mean, they're dropping nukes this season. So it's a great test for them. It's probably the toughest spot they'll be in all year. But I would prefer to stream someone over Caleb. I think you probably have to play DJ Moore for where you drafted him. It's possible some of you have to play Odunze. It's possible some of you have to play Swift at running back too. I would proceed with caution. If you can, start someone else over those guys this week. So that is a breakdown of every single game this week. I'll spend the rest of the week fine-tuning these projections. So please look at the updated projections on my website, thefantasyfootballadvice.com. Saturday night, definitely Sunday morning when the inactives come out, 11:30. Come around 12:15, I should have all the projections done, so you can check when I've done that update. That will be the final update, and I'll make a post when the final update is there. But obviously, if I'm going to be updating projections all throughout the week, then they're going to change. So the updated takes are most available on the website. Definitely check those out. And you can also see the updated detailed projections. So if you want to see the exact projection, like how many carries, how many yards, all these things for each player, you can see that as well, thefantasyfootballadvice.com. I'll catch you guys Friday or Saturday. I don't know which ones. Go over the Underdog video, my favorite Underdog plays. If you choose not to watch that video, that hurts my feelings, but good luck to all of you in week one. Be sure to check out the waiver wire video at the beginning of next week. That'll do it for this one, and thanks for watching.